one of my illusions is really, it's one of my opening pieces less than a minute on stage. It took years of development. My heroes from being a child to now were people you may not think are magicians, but I think are true wizards, like Walt Disney and Jim Henson and Steven Spielberg and Ron Howard, people, directors, creators.
Welcome to NMACC Culture Conversations. Magic has never been this mind bending. The world's greatest illusionist, Rob Lake, is in his element, and we're very pleased to have him in India. The Magic of Rob Lake, 25th to the 27th of April. Tickets are live already and going out very, very fast. So you get to book my show as well as at the venue. There are 3 showings every day, 4 p.m., 6:30 p.m., 7:30 p.m. It's an hour and 15 minutes with a 20 minutes intermission, so you can plan your lives. And here's Rob. Hi, great to talk to you. How are you, Rob?
I'm doing great. It's so nice to meet you.
Rob, you must be very excited about your India trip. Talk to us about that. Talk to us about coming to the Nita Mukesh Ambani Cultural Center, which we're very proud of, and the incredible Grand Theatre that you're about to perform at.
So where to begin? I am really excited for so much here. I've been to over 60 countries, and I'm really looking forward to and really excited to come to India for the first time. It's been on my wish list. I've heard nothing but amazing, exciting, wonderful things. I can't wait for that. And then the theater is stunning. It's gorgeous. The theater is known all around the world for being one of the most beautiful and the most amazing new theaters in the entire world. So I'm really, really excited to bring my grand illusions to that stage.
Rob, we're searching for inspiration always as fans of your work. What inspired you to become a magician? How did you get started in the world of magic? Do you have any memories of as a kid doing your thing?
Yeah, so I started as a kid and I basically never grew up. This whole journey started when I was 10 years old and I saw a magic show and I knew that's what I would do with my life. It was almost like I was downloaded with this divine instruction that this would be my entire life's path. And so I just dove right in. I went to the library and I got every book they had on magic and I studied and I made it a hobby, into a passion, into a career that took me all around the world.
That's incredible. Any influences or mentors while you were growing up saying, wow, I wish I could do what he or she does?
Yeah, so I had 2 wonderful, amazing mentors. They were one was a comedy magician from my hometown who was a very just wonderful dear friend, and I still have his picture here in my office, so I miss him terribly. But he taught me a lot about life and magic, and really helped guide me a lot. And then the other mentor happened to be the first magic show I ever saw. Many years later, I became his protege, and he became my mentor. And when I decided to make magic a full-time career, he really helped me, took me under his wing. I lived in his guest house for 6 months when I was launching my career, and he would loan me illusions and equipment so I could do shows and build my career. So those were my mentors. They really helped guide me and help me find my own voice and my own style of magic. And as far as inspirations, my heroes from being a child to now were people you may not think are magicians, but I think are true wizards, like Walt Disney and Jim Henson and Steven Spielberg and Ron Howard, people, directors, creators who really know how to create wonder and magic. And for me, that's probably more important than the actual tricks of the magic itself.
It's amazing you would say that, because I always viewed Walt Disney and Charlie Chaplin as magicians of their craft, such as the magic they've created with their creative work, and so do you. It's wonderful. Rob, fans of your work or people who come to your shows think, it's just a few minutes on stage. But very few realize the hard work, the creative process behind it. How do you come up with the ideas for your illusions? Can you walk us through your creative process?
Yeah, so it might only, one of my illusions it's one of my opening pieces less than a minute on stage. It took years of development. Some of my illusions, one illusion that I will be performing took over almost 12 years to execute and create, from the original idea to the first time it saw in live audience. So these are things that I'm a perfectionist, and I don't let them go on the stage until it's completely fully ready. It's not like I could just buy these from a catalog and put them into a show. These take years of development. engineering, planning, and then once the logistics or the technical side is done, then is a whole other process with the creation. So how I want to stage it, the music, the lighting, my assistants and the dancers, how we present it, and then what story, what emotion we're bringing to it. So each of the pieces of my show takes many years to create, and just the performance is the tip of the iceberg. It's all the other work you don't get to see.
Wow. Rob, what's the most challenging illusion you've ever performed? Something that you had to work on time and again. And what made it so difficult? If you could pull out one or two from your extensive catalog.
So I think what makes them all the most difficult is me, because I'm a perfectionist and I have these impossible ideas in my mind where I want to do it a certain way, and I'm not going to relent or not going to give up until I do it. So the one that I was mentioned that took almost 12 years, it is one of my favorite ones to do, and it's probably the most difficult illusion in the show. Well, there are two, but I'll mention this one first. It is impossible by design. I set out to create an illusion where the circumstances would be physically impossible for magic. I throw 12 or 15 frisbees into the audience. So all of the volunteers who catch a frisbee are totally random. And they come on stage, they examine everything. They examine a platform, they examine everything in the stage. There's no trapdoors. They walk around it, they stand around it, they stand on top of it. And even still, when I remove myself completely from the theater, I'm still able to do magic in the most impossible circumstances imaginable. And that's by design. So that took me so long because I could have easily given up, not done the volunteers. I could have made non-examinable, but I had in my mind a checklist of requirements. And that's why it took me so long, is to find a way to do it. Still met all my requirements. So that's one of the most difficult ones in the show. And then there's another thing. I create these grand illusions, but I've been working on for a few years a new card trick piece, and I think I'm going to be debuting parts of that in the show in India too. And that's all sleight of hand and close-up magic that just takes blood, sweat, and tears and lots of practice.
Wow. So you're going to debut one of those. Can't wait for that to happen. And sleight of hand and trick of fate. That's a wonderful thing
That's
you
right.
would say about sleight of hand. Now, I look upon my career in radio and the performing arts and the world of audio, and I can think of a few instances when something's gone drastically wrong. At the time, it was very embarrassing, but they turned to be lessons in the long run. Have you ever had an illusion go wrong during a performance, Rob? And if so, then how do you handle it?
Yeah, so especially starting out when I was younger, I learned from mistakes, and if I didn't make mistakes, I would have never grown. But now, when we create an illusion, part of the process is to brainstorm and try to think of every possible contingency, anything that could go wrong, no matter how crazy the idea is, just because we do thousands of shows all around the world. And if it could go wrong, it will sometimes. So before we even perform it for an audience, we've rehearsed every contingency and backup plan. So if something does go wrong, my entire staff and myself, we jump to plan B or C or D. So normally, if something goes wrong in the show, it has nothing to do with the illusions. We've been in a theater a few times when the entire power goes out into the entire, not the building, the whole block, or whenever, if we're in a theater, the computer system that runs their lights and their sound freezes up. And that's kind of fun because the audience is kind of on a unique journey with me. And I walk out front and I say, hey, we're having this technical problem. I don't know what's going to happen. So let's sit down. And it kind of gets to be this impromptu Q&A and time I get to really talk to the audience while we wait it out, because once the show starts, we're all on this journey together.
Wow. So you almost make it as though it's a moment to get to know your audience better. That's a wonderful lesson for all performing
Absolutely.
artists there. um, I'm sure you get so many wonderful reactions from audience members. Is there a couple that's the most memorable? I mean, fantastic reactions post show or later that you've gotten from an audience member?
Yeah, some of the most important ones I think were when my family saw the show. I left college when I was 20 to make this a career. And of course, relatives and my family, they were supportive, but they were very worried. So I think whenever I've been able to impress them and wow them, that really strikes a chord with me. But I also love to see the reaction of the audience. So I keep the lights on just at a little bit of a glow. So throughout the show, I can still see people and see how they react every time. Because for me, it's not about tricking them. Like if I said, oh, I got your wallet, that'd be cool, but then you say, give it back to me, and you would feel weird. So it's not like I'm tricking you to say I'm better than you. I really want to create this wonder and this joy and this enchantment where even if you're a big skeptic, even for a few seconds, you realize that maybe anything can be possible.
Rob, you mentioned the frisbee illusion, the trick that you love doing. Is there another favorite illusion or trick other than the frisbee one that you love to perform?
That's a really hard question to answer because a lot of these illusions are like my children because I spend so long creating them. So if it's in the show, I enjoy performing it, and I really make the show interactive, so it's different every show. I bring a lot of volunteers on stage, and I bring the magic into the audience. And if you watch carefully, sometimes I crack a smile right before the magic happens because I'm really excited because I know how they're going to react and the surprise will be. And that just shows I really love it so much. There's one I'm really enjoying a lot right now where I'm locked up in this tower, and in less than a second, I exchange places with my assistant across the stage. That one's really fun and a joy to perform as well.
Wow, can't wait for that to happen. You meet famous people, you're famous yourself all the time. But I'm going to give you a hypothetical situation. If you, Rob, could perform an illusion for a historical figure, if you could go back in history and do an illusion with somebody like that, who would you pick and why?
Oh, that's such a great question. I would have to be Walt Disney and Jim Henson, my heroes. It'd have to be, and it'd be more just to study and see how they think. I've read as many biographies and documentaries on them as I can, but I think I would really want to experience and just witness how they process and how they think and how their minds work. That's really what fascinates me.
Rob, this isn't about what went wrong during a show, but sometimes really funny, quirky, or strange things happen during a show, during a performance, and you've done so many of them. Can you jog back a memory, something really funny or quirky or wacky or strange that happened during a gig that you want to share with us?
Yeah, like I said, it's highly interactive, so we never know what we're going to get from the audience. We've had, people on stage who seem very intoxicated, and that's a whole different thing. I'd say the funniest things are when I bring a kid on stage and when we talk to the kid, because kids, you never know what they're going to say or do. And there was some times where the kids just, they might be a talker and they just yap, yap, yap and go, and they steal the show. So that's been fun. And if it's something that's really funny and really a hit, we video every show, not for broadcast, and it's not a good quality, but there's always a small camera, so we can study the show. No one else would be able to see it, know they're watching. But we will, if it's something really funny and a hit, we'll watch, say, why was that so funny? What was that? Why was that such a hit? And how can we recreate it, in an organic, natural way? How can we kind of encourage or prompt or set that up so the volunteer reacts that way? Or how can I do something to make that way? So it's really, I'd say it's all about the audience reaction. And what makes it quirky and unique is that it's organic and natural. So it's from their surprise or their enjoyment or their comfort that allows these unique things to happen.
Rob, you already said you're so excited about coming to India and coming to the NMACC and performing at the wonderful Grand Theatre. My question is, have you ever been to India on a holiday before, a trip before? What was that trip like? And if you haven't, what are you most looking forward to? Is it the food, the culture? Talk about that.
I've not been. I've been a lot of places in the world, and I've surprisingly not been to India yet. All of it, the food, the culture, the people, the history. I've heard nothing but praise, and from friends who travel, friends who are in the entertainment business, and everyone just raves and is praising such wonderful things about India. I love Indian restaurants in the U.S. where I'm from, and I really love Indian food and curry. Not too hot, but I love. Um, I'm really looking forward to immersing myself in the culture, in the city, and really experiencing it.
Rob Blake has been to 60 plus countries and he is recognized as the world's greatest illusionist. We're very proud to have him in India at the NMACC Grand Theatre. Remember, 25th to the 27th of April. Tickets are live now, going very fast. 4 p.m., 6:30 p.m., 7:30 p.m. 3 showings, an hour and 15 minutes with a 20 minutes intermission. Go get your tickets on Book My Show as well as at the venue. I really appreciate your time, and I can't wait to see you here in India. Thank you, Rob.
Thank you so much. I'll see you soon.
94.3 Radio 1.